Who am I? Um, my name is Bogdan. I'm working and proudly uh, I'm working at Zattoo. To whom who don't know what is Zattoo, basically streaming service provider, uh, pretty popular here in Switzerland and also as a B2C present in the Germany. As a B2B product, we are spread it along other countries. We covered almost all the platforms that exist in the market, and if not, we are close to cover them. I guess only PlayStation and some TVs are not on our side. And personally, I'm working on the new application that I wanted to share it with you now, and basically have a demo right away. So first of all, I want to show you Android mobile application, which is available there as any usual application. You can run it from the very beginning. And as my colleague have told a couple hours before about the artificial intelligence, you can see right away here how the data welcomes you with content from our editorial team plus machine learning things that help users to experience like a most relevant content to them. And our basically job here is also presented in a nice way. And here you can see the carousels, the marquee element that are quite responsive. We have like endless collections with a lot of content. It's very important to be fast for a user to be able to scroll of them in any direction. One of the most popular pages in our application is channel page. We showing around 200 or 300 pages, channels depending from the user permissions, and it's linear content, but since we are developing like a future of television, it could be not only watched as linear, it could be paused, it could be watched from beginning. If you miss it somehow content, it could be scrubbable, so you can seek forward, backwards, and experience content, or skip some parts of the content if you're interested in. Of course, navigate through 200 or 300 elements is kind of challengeable, so we allow users also create own lists of channels where you can add some stuff and help them create in the way how they want to see it. So you see it's draggable, sortable, so you can manage it in any way you want. Another one of the, I guess this one is most popular page, is actually guide. And it allows you experience the content of all of these channels widespread to the whole day. So we have data from the very beginning of the day till the late night. It's also 1 week before and 2 weeks after. You can also experience what's happening right now, see the details there. Of course, run it right away from here, run it some live shows, which could be accessible by Now button, or go to the prime times to schedule some things, or just replay some shows that was playing before. One of our nice features is actually we give possibility to users record the content, so you can actually record the shows that you like it. It also could be grouped by series. For example, this 2.5 Men that I collected is grouped under series page, and we have dedicated flow to show this content to users. There is a lot of recordings could be gathered by user, and also to help to navigate through them, we provide possibility to filter them, to sort them. Also, we group it in a certain collection. So, for example, here I just filtered and sorted for sport. Of course, it's playable right away, then seekable right away. And basically, this is some football game. Coming up next, as all companies that provide media content, we have libraries, of course, so like such things like a Netflix products have the similar Maxdom. We have own one provided by different providers, so it's kind of content on demand that was already recorded by us, or like such classic thing like a movies. And we have, if it's not enough to navigate and you want to do like a pro stuff or navigate through content more quickly, we have search, which actually not just gives you results, but gives you results in the way how you consume it content before. So you can search it by anything, and we have a client search. So if results was already downloaded, we give it to you right away to not wait some response from server, and also fulfilling by backend searches afterwards. So yeah, I'm here running the stream, and one of the nice options that I like that we provided. So whenever you flip the Android application, it will turn you into the cinema mode, so you don't need to press any buttons to quickly go deep into the content. Another great opportunity that gives Android platform is basically whenever you watch on the full screen, you can collapse your application and it will play as a picture-in-picture mode. Could be helpful for someone who like multitasking, but I can talk about this bit more later. So yeah, that was Android application. And now I'm going to show you application for this particular device, for macOS. So as you know, in macOS you can reach it from the launch bar, so we can just search for Zattoo application and run it, and it will run as an application here, where I can sign in with my social account. I have a German account, it's a bit different, the information is a bit reduced, and also we have a lot of restrictions there, mostly thankfully for German government, which make our life much more complex in terms of delivering the product here. And as you can see, here is like a similar elements, but they have more ways to interact with them. They have controls, so you can drag, you can scroll them. It's also pretty responsive and running as a application. So the channels that you've seen before, but now I'm going to show you a different scenario. For example, recordings that you can schedule from here. So as you see, there is some shows happening. So FIFA Women World Cup, and I scheduled the recordings, and actually not scheduled just single recording. I scheduled series recordings, which gonna run not only this program, but also schedule upcoming football matches for me. And I'm gonna show a bit later how you can reach this one. So yeah, and yeah, that basically the content here is live. You can experience it in different ways. You can go to the cinema mode. You can obviously go to the full screen mode. And my personal preference, it's a picture-in-picture mode, which works on the system level. And it's available for resizing, dragging. What's most nicely, it works out of application, so you can just collapse your application and go to any other things like searching or surfing the content. I'm usually personally often use it whenever I'm coding something and also sometimes watching something. So the content here is mostly focused on the media information, but we have a different representation for our cars. It's like a more focused on the text. As I showed you before, this application also allows you to add and manage favorites. So you can drag it by list, you can drag it by cards. Yeah, basically. And we have a groups, and of course the guide, which on the desktop is more observable, I would say, because it feeds more data and it has like a more controls and possibility to experience controls. So you have some intermediate details here, of course, run it right away, and going through the hot buttons to something that you're interested in. It also shows you what's happening right now and what's upcoming. So yeah, that was the hot buttons. So you can just quickly navigate to some prime times, which is actually different from the Germany and Switzerland. Okay, this is recording section, and remember recordings that are scheduled. Before that, I can show you how you can filter them. So for example, if I'm looking for some cartoon, I can filter all my recordings by cartoon and suggest my kids to watch something. It could be cleared, and what's important for recording, since you can get a really big collection, is give a user possibility to remove them easily. So we actually provide this possibility, remove single recordings, remove all of them, so all of them are kind of flexible to use. And yeah, remember the scheduled recording? So this is match between USA and Chile that I recorded. And it's basically currently in the recording, but also scheduled to be a next one. And this is also grouped and wrapped into the series page under recordings. And on demand section provided by ProSieben TV and other different fellows. All of the data is also populated by artificial intelligence. And we just work with everything that it gives to us. Basically, search. As I mentioned, you can also experience and search not only for some shows, but also for channels' names. You can search for a tiger and find some movie about a tiger and start to watch it. So, yeah, basically that's it. Quite regular app, right? How do you like it? Okay. What is interesting here, I show you two applications. A light, it's a one application. It's just distributed into the different platforms. In the same way, without any effort. Code base is the same. We didn't do anything to deliver it specifically for Android mobile or for macOS. And what's most interesting here, it's a web application written on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and nothing more, except maybe hard work of our team. And by web application, I mean literally website. You can go there, just hold your phone out of your pocket, and log in with TX 2019. And if your connections are quite good, you can experience the same picture that I showed you before. This is our present to you. So this is our premium account for our closed beta. It will be available for you around the month until we roll out it in the live, which hopefully will be in the end of the summer. But meanwhile, if you want to support us, please give us feedback. We really appreciate any positive feedback. We more appreciate negative feedback, and if you will find the bug and report it to us, you're the best. All right, basically the same we ask it to do our users. And we approached around 20K customers and received a pretty huge amount of feedback. It was around engagement was so high, so it was more than 600 feedbacks that user actually type us. And we didn't ask it, we just placed it at button to give us feedback. And what's difficult in this, because we are actually trying to replace our current website with this web application, is that usually people don't like changes. And if you introduce something new, even if it's good, you will have a wave of hate because users just don't like changes. Here situation was pretty different. I guess mostly because we reached our premium users that are day-to-day pay customers. But what surprised us, amount of positive feedbacks. It's non-comparable to negative and quite high, which makes us really happy. And it gives us some sneak peek into what users think about our application. And what's surprising for us, because we previously supported only a website, that 1/3 of our traffic actually comes from the mobile, and we never supported mobile before. So actually, what our users say? I'm really bad in German, so I use machine translation. I hope it's quite enough good, otherwise correct me if I'm wrong. So one of our users from iOS Safari asked when this application will be available for iTunes for download. And to give you a clue why I put all of this one, I put some unusual comments, but they was grouped and make us think about that, make some conclusion that I will share later. So another user thinks it's great, and when it will be on the Android TV applications, which is kind of surprising because it's kind of different worlds. Where is the website and where is the TV experience? All others say like, cool to be sure to upgrade the app. I guess its references mostly because we are early adopters of our new design system, and we a little bit looks fresher, but our native application is close to have a parity, so they will be there soon. And another one, when all these functions come into the app, and could actually refer to something that was never exist in our native application. For example, I guess our native application was never exist in the macOS before, and here you can actually consume it as the actual application, this picture-in-picture and a lot of other stuff. Okay, and this is actually brings us to conclusion that users actually don't care about technologies. Users care about experience. Experience to watch it in different ways. As I said, picture-in-picture mode, cinema, full screen, if it's there, so it doesn't matter if it feels like website or app, it's just a good experience. Whenever you can surprise user by taking some nice actions with the flipping icons, with the flipping of the content, whenever users can explore the same amount of the content and in the same nice way they do in the native application, they probably doesn't care about where they experience it. And that's basically brings us, but you can say that web application is actually not so good in the performance. I'm strongly agree about this one. We're far behind in terms of performance from the Android or iOS or some deep features. But performance is not always about numbers. Usually, we're all talking about the first page load, how much time to get application to load or whatever. But performance is more about feelings. If your user can actually get nuts with scroll and scroll it really faster, that's kind of feels like a good performance. But in the web, it's not so simple. Everything is not so simple. So you need to trick a user to get this feeling of the performance. Actually, if you will try to resize your application in the web, nothing good will happen. If you will resize the whole scroll area, it's not animatable. It will be sluggish and won't work. However, it doesn't mean that you need to animate everything that you need. So you can just animate menu, you can animate header, and the resize of main content area can just go flip from the 3 cars to the 4, or whatever takes place. So such things are meta. And it's matter to users if the user can play with your application. Could it do wiggle with this carousel? That's kind of good impressions. Okay, so how we achieve it? We basically said that we have some web mindset and stop at thinking about our web application as application for a desktop or application for a mobile. We started thinking about it complex. It doesn't matter if it's mobile, if it's desktop, it should run. And basically we stop at limiting. What does it mean? I honestly believe that most performance problems in the web come in from the custom implementation instead of using native browser APIs. This is something that we over-engineer all the time. And nothing good happens when we over-engineer. So for example, browser has a scroll, and usually everyone is limiting it by x-axis or y-axis. But why we had to limit it or do custom implementation? It's just a scroll. Give it a try. So for example, if you are in the Firefox, you can actually do diagonal scroll, which is crazy, and you can do such things like that. Yeah, and of course, we are precious about details. So we implemented something that no one ever asked it, and has nice Easter eggs or some tiny things that helps to feel that application care of you. So this is kind of tooltip that content is playable. So whenever you in the guide trying to reach the content, you will see this icon. If it's replayable, it will change to replay. And sum up quickly, so we care about low-end devices because, and build everything for low-end devices, because everything that's good for low-end devices will be beneficial for high-end devices. It never will go work in the other direction. If you build something for this desktop, which is high performant enough, and trying to tweak it for a mobile device, nothing good will happen. You will end up with a lot of kludges. So mostly we're starting with the low-end device. Yeah, we forget about desktop, mobile experience. We just do web experience. Consistency is a must. It's very important. And thankfully for our design team, we don't introduce new elements just because we don't follow design guidelines. Actually, our color palette exists from the 10 or 15 colors. So we build whole application with around 10 colors. And some obvious things, so we prevent the content jumps, empty screens, so we always use like a backbone before and reserve a space for our content that coming asynchronously. We're trying to do as much animation as we can, but you need to be really picky about this one. It's also like could lead to bad performance if you do it a lot. So, and basically we speak for our user, we ask it for a feedback. And as far as I remember, last 3 months, I guess the third of our tickets is actually coming from the users. So we listen to them, give a feedback, iterate on this feedback, implementing. If one user says it's wrong, it's kind of okay. But if 3 users saying it's wrong, that's something that you need to take care. Yeah, and we trust our engineers. That's important. So engineers is not the functions that take design and implement the code. It's important that engineers take part and think about how that or that feature affect performance of the application, for example. Yeah, but the talk is about outperforming, right? For now, I said we just close to native application. Where we do outperform for sure, it's in accessibility. What if I will run your application in my fridge? Probably nothing will happen. And the same you can see, for example, in Netflix, whenever you're trying to reach any show on the Netflix from your mobile, what Netflix say to you? Go download app. But if I don't have it, if I'm a Windows user or I'm not in the mainstream, then it's not accessible. Honestly, we are not the better. That's basically current situation, what we have now. But we're eager to change. We're eager to deliver this content to user. Okay, this is small benefit, but it's also benefit. Size matters, actually. It's not the case for us because kind of our applications a bit different, so they serve a purpose of smoother experience. But if you have the same functionality, the size could be matter for you because I don't know if you're probably not the user of the low-end devices, but if you were using low-end devices, you probably faced this issue whenever you out of the memory because you installed such a lot of amount of applications that you need to clean up it. And one of the applications that user will clean up could be your one. And the sizes are incomparable in web. Web, for instance, our application weighs like 182. It downloads everything afterwards in the fly. And where we do also outperform the native application, it's in the distribution to the platforms. Because native is always limited by platforms. It's the biggest advantage and the biggest disadvantage of native platforms. They use platform resources, but you cannot build Android application and go to the iOS world. This won't work. You can do some hybrid application, but it's painful. But web is everywhere. You can deliver web and fulfill the gaps where, for example, you have iOS application, but don't have Android team. Or I guess no one, Windows, for example, could be a good choice. And how to distribute web application, actually. With time becomes much easier and easier. The main source, of course, is browser. Whenever you have a browser, you can just type the link and go to application. But also browsers promote PWA applications, so you can also install it and use it from the home screen. As I show it to you, that's basically a scenario when I save it, it's through the browser, and then continue to use it from the desktop or from my home screen. But what about markets? Are we there yet or not? Because markets is something, one of the most important distribution mechanisms. It's important to be in the market, to be in the App Store, be in the Google Play market. So what's the picture for today? Windows supported for years. They have a lot of nice tools to make a PK from your web application, actually deliver to the Windows market. So it's already there. Google this year announced PWA application at first-class citizen. It's still in beta, but soon you will be available to post your web application into the Google market, Google Play. The Apple is not there yet, and there is no intent from them. I guess Apple doesn't like to get something out of control, and web application is something that out of control. They could be updated at any time. You don't need to prove anything. You just exist. And yeah, there is no news from them. Probably only others could force Apple to do something. And yeah, as conclusion, so outperformance, and the question that could appear in your minds, so can we replace all native apps with web right now? And to native guys, calm down, if everything's fine, no. Because we serve different purposes. We could coexist together, for sure. And the purpose of the native apps is performant, nice experience, long-standing experience, when user trusts your application and use it day by day. The purpose of the web is a bit different. The purpose of the web is accessibility, is impression, is a quick overlook. It's a sneak peek in what you can get. And of course, web is something that could be uncover the empty spaces where you don't have native application. I doubt that many of you have like a Windows application, and specifically we do actually, which was surprising when I came in the company. So like basically everything is covered, and this is great application. I guess it's pretty popular in the Windows world, but yeah, the purpose is different. Web can instantly impress and give a sneak peek, and yeah, please don't limit the web because you can benefit from it. Yeah, thanks, and have a nice surfing.